If you're watching this video, you're probably new to Symmetry Financial Group. Now there's a few things you should probably know. One, if this job was easy, we'd all be doing it. But it's not. In order to be good, it's going to take time and effort. So make sure that you plug into the system and reach out to your mentor. There's 4 things that you want to make sure you do when you go into a person's home. The first thing is to uncover their why. Why is this important to them and their family? The second thing is to find the need. Do that by doing a fact finder. The third thing you want to do is make sure you talk about the think about it. So let them know that you're going to be taking an application before you give them numbers. And the very last thing is to let them know that you're going to follow up with them and that you're not just going to be that insurance person who comes to their home, sells them a policy, and that they never hear from them again. You need to let them know that you're on their side and you'll always be there to take care of their family. So Amanda, Mike, I'm just going to start by telling you a little bit about myself, the type of work I do, how I do it, and why I do it. So my name is Cindy Kiley. I work for the company Symmetry Financial Group. Back in 2008, when the mortgage crisis occurred, banks and lenders stopped doing this type of insurance for the most part. And they now refer out to our company and a few other companies that are very similar to ours to be the Mortgage Protection Center. And I'm not actually affiliated with any one specific carrier. I'm what's called a broker. And what that means for the people that I sit down with is that I pick the carrier that's right for you. If I worked for American Family, I would only be able to offer you what American Family offers. Same thing for State Farm, okay? As a broker, I work with the top 30 carriers in the nation for this type of insurance. And really what my job is to get you the most amount of coverage for the least amount of money. I'm more of an advocate for homeowners. So how I go about helping a family decide even if they need anything, because sometimes I just sit down with people and they don't need anything, is today I'm going to ask you some questions about what do you have, what do you want. We're going to play out some worst case scenarios. What happens if Mike doesn't come home? And then what happens if Amanda doesn't come home? And even we're going to talk about other things like what happens if you become critically ill or you're injured and you can no longer work? How do you pay the mortgage then? So a lot of foreclosures today happen not just because of a death, but because of a critical illness and injury. And a lot of the new programs, if you qualify for them, can actually pay your mortgage while you're alive, not just if you pass away. So after all these questions, I'm going to tell you if I think this is a luxury or a necessity. If I don't think you need it, I'm going to pack up my stuff and be on my way. If I do think you need it, I'm going to show you some different ways to bridge a gap. And when we find something today that fits your need and fits your budget, I'll help you apply today, okay? And I'm going to share with you what happened to my family. Some years ago, about 5 years ago, my brother Josh, he was 39. He lived in Elkhorn and worked in Waukesha. And on the way to work one day, he, going around a curve, he probably went around tens of thousands of times, he hit a patch of ice. And he was killed instantly. And when Josh stopped coming home, so did his paycheck. And his family lost everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. First the cable went, and then the cars went. And finally, when they lost their home, they not only lost their home, but the kids lost their school. And they lost their community because they had to move 2 towns over to be with grandma and grandpa. And so really why I do this is to protect families from going through what my own family's gone through. And we still go through today. Probably the most important question today is, who filled this out?
I did.
You did, okay. Amanda, when you filled this out, who are you looking to protect? What did you want this to do for you and your family? Who are you looking to protect?
Well, I guess myself, because if something happened to Mike, I wouldn't be able to stay in the home.
How long, if assuming Mike didn't come home last week, how long would you be able to stay in this home?
I wouldn't be able to.
You wouldn't be able to?
Right away.
Would you want to continue living here?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know where you would go?
Not right off the top of my head, probably my mom's.
Mike, same question for you. Is if Amanda didn't come home last week, would you be able to afford this place on your own income?
It'd be really tight.
It'd be tight, okay. And how long would you have before you would have to make any serious decisions about moving out of your home?
Within the year.
Within a year, okay. Since Amanda has a little bit of coverage with the term policy that she currently has, In a year's time, do you know where you would go or what you would do?
I would probably have to find a smaller place, something I can afford.
Okay. So is it important to you that if you didn't come home, that Amanda was protected, that so she could continue living in her home?
Yes, I would want that.
Yeah. And I know this is kind of Captain Obvious, but why would it be important to you, Amanda, if Mike didn't come home, that you get to stay living in your home?
Well, we have 4 kids, so, I mean, this is our first home. And if something happened to Mike, then I'd have to not, be different if it was just me, but I'd have to uproot the kids too. And when we picture our path with our kids, we don't want them to have to lose their home as children.
Okay.
So I guess that's why it's important to me.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that Mike, if something happened to Amanda, you'd be okay for a while, maybe you make a little bit more income, but eventually you'd have to give up your home. And Amanda, if something happened to Mike last week, you'd not only be emotionally devastated, but you would be immediately financially devastated as well. Is that right? Okay. So Mike, you said you work at Ganser in sales, right?
Yep,
After all your deductions, what actually hits your bank account on a monthly basis?
6,000.
Okay. And Amanda, you're at the hospital? And what hits your bank account on a monthly basis?
About 4,000.
Okay. And do either one of you bring in income from anything else?
No.
Okay. You're living on about $10,000 per month combined? Okay. And do either one of you have a will?
I do.
Okay. And Mike? No? Okay. And do either one of you have any long-term care insurance?
No.
No. And do you have children?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are their names?
Rose,
Okay. And how old's Rose?
18.
Okay.
Tiffany,
Tiffany?
15. And Tim, 14.
Okay. And are your parents still with us?
My dad passed away.
Okay. And Amanda, how old was your dad when he passed away?
47.
47. And do you mind if I ask what he passed away from?
It was an accidental.
Accident? Okay. And is your mom still with us?
Mhm.
How old is she?
63.
And like your parents?
Yeah, mom's 68. And my dad passed away
And how
at
old?
age 63.
Okay. And what did he pass away from?
Heart attack.
A heart attack. Okay. So sometimes people are wondering why I'm asking about their parents. And the reason I ask you this is because we have things that affect our mortality rate that are environmental, right? Do you use tobacco? Do you have a dangerous job? Do you drive a lot? And on the other side of that, we have our genetic makeup, okay? So when I look at your dad passing away from an accident when he was younger, I'm not concerned about that, right? When we see your dad passed away from a heart attack, that helps me understand what your genetic makeup looks like and that what kind of program, it helps me decide what kind of program to pick for you and your family, okay? And then let's see here. As far as your mortgage, I know it says that you owe about $242,000. If you were going to put this place on the market, what would you sell it for?
285.
$285. Okay. So about $43,000 in equity. Does that seem about right? Okay. And do you have any other properties? No. Okay. And then I know that when we spoke on the phone, Amanda, you said that you have $100,000 of coverage with American Family, and that's term.
Yep.
Okay. And how long is left on that term?
About 2 years.
2 years? Okay. And what do you pay every single month for that?
It's like $20, I think.
Okay. And then do either one of you have any other insurance?
No.
Okay. So we're just going to touch a little bit on how your employer-based insurance actually works, so that you understand why I'm not going to include it in your plan for today. But I actually like the insurance that a company will provide for a family. I like it because it's really inexpensive. But do you know why it's really inexpensive?
Group insurance.
That's part of the reason. Okay, the other part of the reason is that actuarial tables tell us that these policies rarely pay out. So most people will change jobs, they'll retire, or they become critically ill or injured and they'll stop working. So you don't actually own any of this insurance. Again, actuarial tables tell us that these rarely pay out. They're great to have, but for planning purposes, we're not going to include it in your plan today, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. And then, do either one of you use tobacco? No. And then on your side of the family, any cancer, Heart disease, stroke, Alzheimer, or diabetes?
Alzheimer's, grandma had.
And dad had a heart attack, right? And how about you? On your side of the family, cancer, heart disease, stroke, Alzheimer, or diabetes?
My grandma had a stroke at age 90, but other than that, no.
Okay. And what do you keep liquid in checking and savings at all times to make you feel safe? This is like your rolling average, your emergency fund.
About 4,000.
Okay. And do you have any CDs?
Mm-hmm.
401k?
I have a 401k through there.
And what's the value of that?
About 8,000, I think, is in there.
And Mike, do you have a 401k?
IRA,
Okay. And what's the value of your IRA?
20,000.
Okay. And do you have any other assets such as CDs, 401ks, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, or annuities?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We know you owe about $242,000 on your home. Do you have any credit card debt?
Yeah, about.
15,000.
Okay. And do you owe anything on your vehicles?
Mine's about 16,000.
35 on mine.
Okay. And how about student loans? Do you have any student loans?
I have student loans, about 50,000.
Okay. And do you have any other debt? Boats, ATVs, anything else like that?
Oh,
Okay. So about $357,000 in debt. Does that seem about right to you?
yep.
Okay. And what's your monthly mortgage payment, including taxes and escrow?
1888.
And what are your car payments?
Mine's like 400,
650.
Utilities?
about 300.
Cell phone bill?
400.
TV and internet?
50.
Groceries?
At least 1,000 a month.
Okay. Auto and home insurance?
150.
Okay. And you're paying about $20 for your life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
What do you pay on your credit cards every month?
About 500.
$500. And your student loans?
600.
Okay. So what I just did for the two of you is I put together a basic living expense. What you need every single month at a very minimum to keep a roof over your head, cars in your driveway, food in your belly, and your bills paid. Okay? At a very minimum, you need to bring in $6,170 per month. Combined, you bring in $10,000 per month. At a very minimum, $6,170 goes out, and what you have left over is going to seem like a big number. It's about $3,830. The reason that number looks big is because it's going to go for two things. It should go for saving, and it'll also go for fun. Okay? But what this tells me is that you do have a budget to work with. Now we just need to determine even if you would need any sort of coverage. Okay? So when we look at this and we flip this back over and we say, what happens if Mike doesn't come home? Okay? So if Mike doesn't come home, neither does that $6,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we look over here, and it's probably no surprise to you that you would absolutely be in the red, right? So bringing in $4,000 a month, you would be negative by a minimum of over $2,000 per month.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if Amanda doesn't come home and that $4,000 a month goes away? We look back over here and we'll say, okay, well, so your basic living expenses are about $6,000 per month, right? And you bring in $6,000 a month, which, you'd be, cutting it really close every single month. What it shows is that you're both in the red, and you might have a little bit of cushion for now. But my recommendation is, yes, I do agree with you both that you could use some coverage, okay? And now I'm going to show you some different ways to get some coverage to cover that gap. But is that something that you want to see today?
Yeah.
Okay. And so generally, Amanda and Mike, when I show people numbers, what I do is I like to make an agreement. Is that when we find something today that fits your need and fits your budget, I'll help you apply today. Sometimes people will tell me that they want to think about it. Generally, what I think about it means is one, I don't understand your situation and I didn't find a need here. But I think we can all agree on that you're both in the red without each other here, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. The second is that a person doesn't care about it. Now, I highly doubt I'd be sitting in your living room on a Sunday afternoon if you two didn't care about each other, right? So, and the third thing is, it's the budget. So if what I show you is more than you want to spend, you only have to let me know. Does that sound reasonable? Okay, great. So prior to coming here, based on the information that I gathered on the phone from Mike, I put together some quotes. So, Mike, based on the information that I gathered on the phone with you, you do qualify for a program by a company by the name of Foresters. One of the reasons I like Foresters so much is because they have not only a really, they have the death benefit for the mortgage protection insurance, but they have up to 95% living benefit, which says if you become critically ill or injured and not necessarily terminal, this policy can pay up to 95% of the death benefit to you while you're alive as a living benefit. And Amanda, you qualify for the same as well because you don't have any health conditions, okay? So what I'm showing you is 30 years, okay? We can do 10 years, we can do 20 years, but why I'm showing you 30 years is because if in 20 years from now you want another 10 years, this is going to be a lot more expensive. I generally recommend to the people that I sit down with to take a longer period of time and a lesser of a death benefit, right? Just to make sure that you keep making sure that you're picking a program that actually fits your budget, okay? So when we look here, what I'm showing is, I'm showing 100,000, 200,000, and 250,000, okay? There's two ways to go about doing mortgage protection insurance. The very first way is that we pay off the entirety of the mortgage, okay? Which is the preference of most people. But sometimes that's not always feasible depending on a person's budget, right? So the other way you can do mortgage protection is to what we call a pay down. So what you do is you elect to have a smaller benefit amount, and what you're able to do is to go in and pay down the mortgage maybe by $100,000 or $200,000, refinance, and now you're able to afford living here on your income alone. So I'm showing you these different ways where you can pay off a portion of it, and then you can pay off the entirety of the mortgage. Okay, so for Mike, for you, for $100,000 of coverage, it would be $123.56 per month. Amanda, you're a little bit younger, and so yours would be $96.42. Mike, for $200,000, yours would be $257.84, and Amanda, yours would be $190.84. For $250,000 of coverage, Mike, it would be $325.67 per month, and Amanda, for you, it would be $294.75. But what if this fits your budget best?
I think we should more on you than me.
Yeah, probably the 200 on me.
Maybe the 100 on me.
Yeah.
Okay, so 200,000 on Mike, and we're gonna do 100,000 on Amanda. Okay, I just need to see your IDs. So the most important thing when you're going into a person's home is to remember that their financial lives are at stake. So always make the right decision and always work in their best interest.